Welcome to Sleep Through Space. This is part 1 of 100 psychology tricks you can use every day. These aren't manipulative or unethical, just simple, powerful insights about how humans think, react, and make decisions. Use them to communicate better, make friends easier, and understand people on a deeper level. Let's begin with tricks 1 through 10. Number 1, the pause after their name trick. People love hearing their name, but this trick takes it further. When you greet someone and say their name, don't rush into the next sentence. Say something like, "Hey, Daniel." Pause briefly. "It's good to see you." That pause creates a micro moment where their brain pays extra attention. It feels more personal, more genuine, and more intentional. This single-second gap boosts connection because the mind interprets it as emotional significance. People who use this trick are almost always remembered as warm, charismatic, and attentive. Number 2. The assumed agreement technique. Instead of asking questions that can be answered with no, ask questions that assume the other person already agrees. For example, instead of, "Do you want to go to lunch?" try, "Should we grab lunch now or in 20 minutes?" This works because the brain likes simple decisions. When you remove the yes/no barrier, the conversation flows smoother and people feel more comfortable responding. This is incredibly effective in leadership, customer service, or even casual conversation. Number 3, the open body, open mind rule. Human psychology is tightly connected to body language. One powerful trick is to match your openness to the emotional tone you want the other person to feel. If you want someone to trust you, uncross your arms, uncross your legs, tilt your body slightly toward them. Keep your hands visible. People subconsciously mirror what they see. So if you're open, relaxed, and comfortable, their mind picks up on that signal and follows. It's one of the easiest ways to make someone drop their guard and connect. Number 4, the comfort cue repetition trick. When someone laughs, smiles, or makes a positive gesture, notice the little action that came right before it. Maybe they touch their hair, lean back, or move their hands a certain way. Now, simply repeat that motion subtly during the conversation. Their brain already connects that gesture with comfort and positivity. When they see you do it, they experience a similar emotional response. This is a mild form of mirroring, but more strategic. It helps people feel like they've known you longer than they have. Number 5, the give them a reason, any reason, hack. Psychology research shows that people are far more likely to agree to something if you give any reason, even a weak one. Instead of, "Can I cut in line?" try, "Can I cut in line? I'm running late." The mind doesn't evaluate how strong the reason is. It just wants an explanation. This works at work, in negotiations, and in day-to-day conversations. Even simple reasoning reduces resistance. Number 6, the hum with your voice trick. When you speak, adding a very slight, warm hum tone to your voice makes you sound friendlier and more trustworthy. It's not singing, it's more like making the edges of your words softer and warmer. People react better to voices that feel relaxed, warm, and calm. A hum-toned voice triggers comfort responses, making you more likable without trying harder. This is especially effective on phone calls, presentations, or first-time conversations. Number 7, the let them finish to silence trick. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. Here's how you can use that to your advantage, in a respectful way. When someone answers a question, wait 2 to 3 seconds before you speak. Don't look annoyed or impatient, just attentive. They will often continue speaking, add more details, reveal their true feelings, because they subconsciously want to fill the silence. This is extremely useful when you want genuine information, whether in a deep conversation, a negotiation, or a moment where clarity matters. Number 8, the ask for small before big principle. If you need something important from someone, don't start with the big request. Ask for something tiny first, something anyone would say yes to. Example, before asking a coworker to review a whole project, ask if they can give feedback on one paragraph. When someone says yes once, the likelihood they'll say yes again rises dramatically because their brain wants to stay consistent with past behavior. It's called the foot in the door effect, and it works better than jumping into big requests. Number 9, the repeat the last 2 to 3 words trick. When someone tells you something meaningful, repeat their last few words in a calm tone. This signals deep listening and encourages them to continue. Example, them. I've been overwhelmed with work lately. You, overwhelmed with work. Their brain registers this as empathy. They feel heard, understood, and validated. This is a trick therapists, interviewers, and strong conversationists use all the time. If you struggle with deep conversations, this trick will completely transform the way people open up to you. Number 10, the let them be the expert strategy. People love feeling knowledgeable. You can build instant rapport by asking for someone's opinion or expertise, especially on something you know they care about. Instead of trying to impress people, give them the spotlight. Say something like, I'd love to hear your take on this, or you know more about this than I do, what do you think? This works because the ego loves recognition. When people feel valued, they attach positive emotion to the person who makes them feel that way, which is you. Ending of part 1. And that wraps up part 1 of our series. These first 10 psychology tricks are simple, practical, and incredibly effective in everyday life. If you use even 2 or 3 of them regularly, you'll notice your conversations become smoother, your connections feel deeper, and people naturally respond better to you. Trick 11, the reverse spotlight trick. When someone feels nervous or judged, they enter what psychology calls the spotlight effect, the belief that everyone is watching them more than they really are. You can instantly make people feel safer and more comfortable by doing 3 small things. Relax your shoulders. Tense shoulders signal judgment. Relaxed shoulders signal warmth. Give a soft, tiny smile, not a big grin, just a gentle one that feels natural. Say one short affirmation early on, like, "You're good. I get what you mean. Take your time." These tiny cues tell the brain, you're not under a microscope. People relax instantly, talk more freely, and trust you more, all because you quietly took the pressure off them. 12. The invisible compliment trick. Compliments are powerful, but many people reject them due to self-doubt, modesty, or discomfort. The invisible compliment bypasses this issue completely. Instead of complimenting the person directly, you compliment their behavior, their effort, or the effect they have on others. Examples. People always relax when you walk into the room. It's a rare skill. Your explanations make everything so much easier to understand. I notice how patient you were. Most people don't handle that as well. These don't sound like traditional compliments. They sound like observations, which people accept more easily because they're not framed as praise. They're framed as facts. Why this works? It triggers less defensiveness. It feels more authentic. It shows you notice the details. It complements their character, not just their appearance or achievement. It strengthens social connection without awkwardness. Invisible compliments are some of the most emotionally powerful because they recognize who someone is, not just what they did. 13. The start with a small yes technique. This trick comes straight from decades of behavioral psychology. Humans have a deep desire to act consistently with the choices they've already made. This is known as the commitment and consistency principle. So if you can get someone to say one small yes, they are more likely to say a bigger yes later. Example: small yes. Could you help me understand this quickly? Big yes. Would you mind helping me finish the whole thing? Small yes. Do you agree that communication is important? Big yes. Then let's set up weekly check-ins. The trick works best when the first yes is easy, quick, non-threatening, related to the larger request, thought-provoking so they feel involved. You see this everywhere: sales, relationships, negotiations, and leadership. The goal isn't manipulation, it's to guide cooperation by starting with something so simple they have no reason to reject it. Once they've said yes, their brain wants to remain consistent. 14. The "you're right, not you're wrong" strategy. Telling someone you're wrong almost guarantees resistance. Human brains are wired to protect the ego, avoid embarrassment, and maintain their internal worldview. That's why a simple switch in language dramatically changes how people respond. Instead of saying, "you're wrong," say, "I see why you think that, but here's another angle." Or, "I think you might actually be right about part of that, and here's what I noticed too." This trick works because it lowers defensiveness. It keeps the ego safe. It turns disagreement into collaboration. It shifts the conversation from argument to problem solving. It preserves the relationship while still correcting the issue. In negotiation psychology, this is known as agreement framing. You find something to validate, even if small, so they stay open to correction. It's not about being dishonest. It's about choosing a communication style that keeps the conversation productive. 15. Ask for advice, not help trick. People often hesitate to ask for help because it feels burdensome or one-sided. But asking for advice triggers the opposite reaction. It makes people feel valued, wise, and respected. Instead of, "Can you help me with this?" try, "I'd love your advice on this. You're great at it." Why this works? It activates the person's competence. They feel respected, not burdened. It boosts their self-image. People enjoy sharing wisdom. It builds rapport and trust. This trick has been shown in research to increase cooperation, strengthen relationships, and even improve negotiation outcomes. Asking someone for advice is like giving them a small gift, the gift of importance. 16. Use silence as a weapon. Most people feel uncomfortable with silence in a conversation. They rush to fill it. You can use this to your advantage, ethically and respectfully. When you ask someone a question, especially an important one, stay silent. Don't rephrase, don't add details, don't help them answer, don't rescue the awkwardness. Just wait. Why silence works? It creates internal pressure. It encourages honesty. It gives people room to think. It signals confidence. It shifts control of the conversation your way. This trick is used by therapists, interrogators, negotiators, and skilled conversationalists. Silence is not empty. It is full of psychological weight. When used correctly, silence becomes one of the most powerful communication tools. 17. Show you understand before you argue trick. When people feel misunderstood, they shut down or get defensive. So before you offer your viewpoint, especially if it's a disagreement, reflect their feelings or perspective back to them. This technique is known as active validation, and it instantly lowers tension. Examples: "I get why that frustrated you. Anyone would feel the same." Or, "From what you're saying, it really mattered to you." Or, "I see your point. There's definitely logic in that." Once someone feels understood, their brain relaxes and becomes more open to your perspective. This trick works because it satisfies emotional needs. It prevents escalation. It makes the conversation feel fair. It builds trust. It shows emotional intelligence. People listen when they feel heard. They resist when they feel dismissed. This trick ensures they feel the first, not the second. 18. The reverse chase trick. Humans want what is scarce, not what is abundant. When someone feels chased, they instinctively pull back. But when they feel someone is slightly less available, they lean in. This doesn't mean playing games. It means showing self-respect, not over-texting, having your own goals, not needing constant validation, letting conversations breathe naturally. The psychological principle behind it is reactance. People want what feels slightly out of reach. You don't have to be cold, just be balanced. Engage fully, but not desperately. When you stop chasing, people stop running. 19. Highlight the choice, not the outcome trick. When you tell someone what to do, they feel controlled. When you highlight the choice, they feel empowered. Instead of, "You need to calm down," say, "You can take a moment to breathe if you want, it might help." Or, "You must finish this today." Say, "You can finish it today and get it off your plate," or "Wait, up to you." The brain reacts very differently to commands versus choices. With commands, resistance spikes. With choices, cooperation increases. People love choices because it preserves their autonomy, a fundamental human need. This trick works in leadership, relationships, parenting, sales, and everyday interactions. 20. Use their words, not yours trick. The human brain loves its own language. When you repeat or paraphrase a person's exact words back to them, they feel deeply understood. Examples. Someone says, "I'm overwhelmed." You reply, "I hear you. You're overwhelmed." Someone says, "I want something more stable." You reply, "You're looking for that stability." This technique works because it mirrors their internal experience. It builds fast rapport. It proves active listening. It increases trust. It helps conversations flow naturally. Therapists use this constantly. It's called reflective language. It makes people feel connected to you in a very powerful way. 21. The "let them correct you" technique. There is a strange truth about the human mind. People like you more when they get to correct you. It sounds backwards, but research in interpersonal psychology shows that when someone gently corrects a harmless mistake you make, especially when you allow to happen, they feel smarter, more competent, and more connected to you. It works best when the mistake is small and safe. A date, a name of a cafe, a detail in a story. For example, "So we met in 2019, right?" "No, it was actually 2018. "Oh, you're right, that's what I meant." The brain gets a little shot of satisfaction. Not ego dominance, but competence. You become the person who lets others shine. Why it works? People enjoy feeling knowledgeable. Correcting you feels like a contribution. It creates a subtle sense of teamwork. They subconsciously associate you with positive self-feelings. It reduces social distance between you and them. Think of this as a bond builder, a humility trick, a way to make people feel valued, not because you tell them they're smart, but because you let them prove it to themselves. And the mind never forgets how you make it feel. 22. The 3-second look of understanding. We underestimate how powerful a look can be. Not a stare, not a glare, but a slow, calm pause after someone tells you something meaningful. They speak, you listen, and after they finish, you hold 3 seconds of gentle, thoughtful eye contact. Not intense, not confrontational, just present. It tells them, "I didn't just hear the words, I absorbed them." This activates emotional areas in the brain tied to connection and validation. People feel seen. People feel understood. People feel safe. And safe is one of the strongest forms of influence. The trick? No nodding too fast. No rushing to respond. No high energy reactions, just presence. This technique is used by therapists, leaders, and storytellers. It slows time. It signals depth. It gives their emotions and yours room to breathe. You become memorable, even if you say nothing at all. 23. The lower your voice at the end of a sentence trick. Confidence doesn't always come from words. Often, it comes from how the sentence ends. Many people raise their tone at the end of a statement like they're asking a question, even when they're not. It signals uncertainty, doubt, and submissiveness. But lowering your voice by even a slight amount at the end of a sentence sends a different signal entirely. A slow drop in tone activates a listener's instinctive perception of authority. It sounds calm, grounded, certain, safe. Say this: I think we can handle it. Not, I think we can handle it? This works because lowering vocal pitch mimics how confident animals, leaders, and parents soothe others. It's primal, it's deep-rooted, it's subconscious. But what makes it powerful is not dominance, but reassurance. A lowered tone says, "You can relax. I've got this." And people instinctively lean into the energy that feels steady and grounded, especially at night when the world is quiet. 24. The reveal something small first principle. Human connection grows from vulnerability, but people often misunderstand vulnerability as something intense or dramatic. In reality, the strongest connections begin with small admissions. Tiny things, gentle things, safe things. Like, I always forget where I leave my keys. Crowded places make me a little uneasy. I'm trying to get better at speaking up. These small confessions activate what's known as reciprocal vulnerability, a psychological mirror effect where the other person feels comfortable opening up too. And when they do, the bond forms quickly and quietly. This trick works because it shows you're human. It signals trust. It invites honesty. It lowers walls. It creates emotional symmetry. Think of it as unlocking a door, not by forcing it open, but by gently pushing it with your fingertips. People follow emotional cues, and when you show a little softness, others soften with you. 25. The place the effort on you, not them strategy. Humans avoid requests that sound like work, but they happily accept requests that sound like you are taking responsibility. Instead of saying, "Can you do this?" say, "I'll make this easy. Can you just handle this part?" Instead of, "I need you to explain that," say, "If you could walk me through it, I'll take care of the rest." You shift the weight off of them. You reduce the pressure. You frame it as teamwork instead of obligation. People's brains relax when they feel the task won't overwhelm them. This works because it minimizes perceived load. It shows initiative. It creates fairness. It builds cooperation. It makes the task feel smaller. Humans aren't lazy. We're protective of our energy. So when you offer to manage most of the effort, people step forward more willingly. 26. The return to a detail later trick. One of the most powerful ways to make someone feel valued is to remember something small they said and bring it back later. It can be 5 minutes later, or 5 days later, or 5 months later. Did you ever finish that book? How did that presentation go? You mentioned headaches, are they better now? How's your brother doing? This strikes directly at the emotional core because it shows you listened, you cared, you held on to their words. This is often one of the strongest psychological bonding tools of all, because most people feel unheard in their daily lives. When someone notices the small things, the mind attaches significance to that person instantly. This technique builds trust, emotional safety, warmth, respect, deep rapport.
Small details remembered create large emotional impact. 27. The quiet power trick. Some people try to influence by being loud, animated, or overly expressive. But one of the strongest psychological techniques is the opposite: quiet influence. Quiet power is calm, slow, intentional, measured. It's the presence of someone who doesn't need to compete for attention, someone who naturally pulls rather than pushes. Quiet power involves speaking slowly, keeping movements smooth, maintaining relaxed posture, leaving pauses in conversation, considering before responding, letting others take the spotlight. This is a form of charisma rarely discussed. Charisma that doesn't flash, it glows. Quiet power works because it signals confidence, safety, stability, emotional control, depth, reliability. Humans gravitate toward the calmest person in the room, not because they're louder, but because they feel like a stable center in a chaotic world. 28. The give them the last word technique. Ending a conversation with a sense of closure gives the other person emotional satisfaction. People love having the last word, not because they want dominance, but because it feels like the conversation concluded on their terms. It feels complete, resolved, balanced. Instead of ending a talk abruptly, let them offer the final remark. You say, "That makes sense. What do you think we should do?" Or, "Interesting point. Any last thoughts?" And then, you let them have it. This works because it empowers them. It boosts their confidence. It leaves the conversation warm. It avoids unresolved tension. It makes them feel respected. People remember how a moment ends far more than how it began. Letting them speak last becomes a small gift that sticks in their mind. 29. Ask a slower question trick. Rushed questions lead to rushed answers. Slow questions lead to depth. A slow question is one you deliver gently, with intention, and without pressure. It sounds like you've considered your words carefully. It feels thoughtful, safe, inviting. Examples: "Can you tell me what made you feel that way?" Or, "What would make this easier for you?" And, "What do you really want here?" Or, "How do you see this all playing out?" A slow question slows down the other person's thinking. Their breathing shifts. Their guard lowers. Their introspection rises. This technique works because it activates deeper cognitive processing. It makes the conversation feel meaningful. It signals emotional intelligence.
31. The name echo. People feel instantly closer to someone who uses their name once and once only early in the conversation. Not too much, that feels manipulative, but a single, natural moment like, "Yeah, I get what you mean, Alex." It signals familiarity, attention, and warmth. The brain treats hearing one's own name as a mini reward, similar to a small dopamine spark. It makes your presence feel grounding and memorable. Too much name use breaks the spell. One echo is enough. 32. The slow blink of trust. Fast blinking signals stress. Slow blinking signals safety. If you deliberately slow your blinking during a tense moment, not exaggerated, just natural, people subconsciously mirror you and calm down. Slow blinking triggers a parasympathetic response, telling the nervous system everything is okay. Use it when someone seems anxious, defensive, or uncertain. This is one of the simplest ways to shift the emotional temperature in a room. 33. The weighted silence. Silence makes most people uncomfortable. They rush to fill it, often revealing more information than they planned. But here's the twist. When you stay calm during silence, people interpret you as grounded and confident. So, after asking an important question, pause, wait.
Let the silence sit for a few seconds. The other person will often give you fuller, more honest answers because they subconsciously feel you're giving their thoughts more space. This isn't about manipulation, it's about creating room for truth. 34. The ask for small, then big technique. A well-studied principle in psychology: when you ask for a small favor first and someone agrees, they are much more likely to say yes to a bigger one later. This is the foot in the door effect. Their brain thinks, I already said yes to them, I must trust them, so they continue the pattern. You don't need to use it for huge requests. Even simple things like, can you check this real quick for me? Followed later by, can you help me with this part too? Works smoothly. This trick builds cooperation gently, without pressure. 35. The purpose pause. When you explain why you're asking for something, people feel dramatically more willing to help. The reason doesn't even need to be complex, it just needs to exist. Studies show that adding the word because changes compliance rates dramatically. For example, could you send me that file when you get a chance? Versus, could you send me that file when you get a chance because I want to add it to the new folder? Same request, different outcome. People respond to purpose. Their brain relaxes when there's context. 36. The spot the spiral trick. Sometimes people speak in emotional spirals, re-explaining the same fear or frustration in different words. Most listeners either interrupt or offer solutions too fast. But there's a better way. Identify the root emotion behind the spiral and say it gently. You're overwhelmed. You're not angry, you're hurt. You're afraid of losing control. When you name the emotion correctly, something remarkable happens. The spiral stops. People feel seen and their nervous system calms. It's a psychological pressure release. 37. The gentle head tilt. Tilting your head slightly while someone speaks signals openness and non-aggression, similar to how animals expose vulnerable areas when they trust. This subtle cue encourages people to share more and feel understood. It is often paired with soft eye contact and a relaxed mouth. In tense conversations, keeping your head upright signals authority. But in emotional conversations, the slight tilt signals, I'm listening. You're safe to keep talking. Humans read this instantly. 38. The future anchor. People love imagining themselves in future scenarios. It activates hope, planning, and positive projection. So when you want someone to feel more confident, more open, or more motivated, anchor your idea in the future. For example, I can see you getting really good at this. Or, imagine yourself a few months from now, you'll look back and be proud. Or, you're going to handle this better than you think. Future thinking reduces fear. It shifts perspective. It makes obstacles look temporary and growth feel possible. It's not flattery, it's a psychological light. 40. The shared struggle effect. When you admit a small weakness or a moment of difficulty, people trust you more. It's called the pratfall effect. Being too perfect creates distance. For example, I struggled with that part at first too. Or, I forget things like that sometimes as well. Tiny admissions like these make people feel equal to you, not judged by you. They relax, they talk more openly, they feel less embarrassed about their own mistakes. You become human, and humans connect. 41. The gentle redirect. When someone is venting or spiraling negatively, you don't need to clash with them or argue their feelings away. Instead, acknowledge their emotion, then gently shift the focus to something constructive. For example, I get why that frustrated you. What part of it bothered you the most? Or, that was a lot to deal with, but what do you think would help next time? This redirection doesn't invalidate them. It moves them toward clarity instead of chaos. People feel supported, not dismissed, not corrected, guided. This trick can turn a storm of emotion into a calm, structured thought process in under a minute. These 10 tricks don't shout. They don't dominate. They don't push. They whisper, they guide, and they gently adjust the emotional tone of a moment. And when mastered, they make you the person who steadies the energy in a room, the person others trust without knowing why, the person whose presence feels safe, calm, and strangely grounding.
41. The open door line. Some people want to speak, but don't know how to start. Their emotions are clogged behind hesitation. A simple line can open the door. If you want to talk about it, I'm here. No pressure, no demand, just permission. When people sense non-judgmental space, they often walk through it voluntarily. This line communicates comfort, patience, and safety, and people feel drawn toward that. The trick isn't the words, it's the lack of force. 42. The soft ending technique. Ending a conversation smoothly is a skill. Most people close abruptly. All right, I gotta go. But psychologically, gentle endings create a warm afterglow and strengthen memory of the interaction. Try phrases that ease the exit. I'm glad we talked. This was really nice. Let's pick this up later. Soft endings create lingering positivity. They make your presence feel warm, not rushed. People remember last moments most. Make them soft. 43. The calm mirror. Most mirroring advice focuses on copying posture or gestures, and that can feel robotic. A better version is emotional mirroring. If someone speaks softly, respond softly. If they're excited, lift your energy a little. If they're overwhelmed, breathe slower so they sync with you. It tells their subconscious, we're aligned. This builds trust without any physical mimicry. You're not copying, you're matching the emotional frequency of the moment. People relax when they feel understood beyond words. 44. The permission-based suggestion. Want people to accept your idea? Don't present it as a command. Wrap it in permission. Instead of, you should try, use, do you want to try something that might help? Or, I have an idea if you're open to it. The brain hates being pushed, but when it chooses to listen, it absorbs more deeply. Permission opens minds. Pressure closes them. 45. The invisible compliment. Most compliments are obvious. You're smart. You're funny. You look good today. Obvious compliments bounce off the mind, but invisible compliments sink in. These are subtle lines that praise a trait without sounding like praise. You always think things through. You notice details most people miss. You have a calming way of talking. The brain accepts these more easily because they don't feel like flattery, they feel like recognition. Invisible compliments shape how people see themselves and how they see you. 46. The choice illusion trick. When you need cooperation, offer a choice between two options you already prefer. People feel more in control, even though all outcomes lead where you want. For example, do you want to leave in 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Instead of, let's go now. Or, do you want help with the first part or the second part? Instead of, can you help me? People resist demands, but they embrace choices, especially when they believe they made the decision. The trick isn't force, it's freedom within boundaries. 47. The predictive calm. Before delivering news or giving instructions, set the emotional stage. The brain reacts more gently when it knows what to expect. Try phrases like, this isn't a big deal, but I wanted to mention. Or, you don't need the stress about this. I think we can figure this out easily. Predictive calm lowers defensiveness. It reduces anxiety. It prepares the mind to hear the next sentence without flinching. You're guiding the emotional reaction before it happens. 48. The return to neutral pause. After someone vents or expresses strong emotion,
Don't respond immediately. Wait 1 or 2 seconds. This micro-pause gives their brain time to reset from emotional state back to logical state. If you respond too fast, they stay in emotional mode. But if you wait even briefly, their mind steps out of the storm and into clarity. Then, your words actually land. This pause shows emotional intelligence and prevents misunderstandings before they start. 49. The tiny thank you. Gratitude doesn't need to be big to be powerful. In fact, tiny, unexpected thank yous hit harder. Not "thank you so much," but something simple, soft, and surprising. "Thanks for explaining that. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for giving me your time." Tiny gratitude feels real because it's not dramatic. It makes people feel appreciated for things they didn't even realize counted. And appreciation is one of the quickest ways to create trust. 50. The tone reset trick. Sometimes conversations get tense without anyone meaning to. Voices sharpen, energy shifts, misunderstandings brew quietly. You can reset the entire tone with one calm, grounding sentence. "Hold on. I want to make sure I understand you." This single line has enormous psychological power. It stops escalation. It signals care, not conflict. It centers the conversation back on understanding rather than winning. Tone resets are like emotional resets. They bring both people back to steady ground. These 10 tricks are soft tools for navigating the mind, tools that shift energy, guide emotions, and create subtle moments of peace within conversations. They don't just help you communicate, they help you connect. Gently, quietly, almost invisibly. When you understand how to shape the emotional tempo of a moment, you begin to see that connection isn't random, it's crafted.
51. The steady voice override. Emotions climb quickly when voices rise. Anger sharpens tone. Stress speeds up speech. But one person, speaking steadily, can override the entire emotional atmosphere. Lower your voice slightly. Slow your pace. Drop your shoulders. Humans unconsciously mirror calmness. It's an ancient survival instinct. A steady voice signals safety. The other person's nervous system responds without even thinking. This trick isn't about controlling someone. It's about giving their mind a place to land. 52. The gentle reframe. Sometimes people see themselves through harsh labels. "I'm lazy. I can't do anything right. I always mess things up." You don't argue. You reframe softly. Maybe you were overwhelmed, not lazy. Maybe you didn't mess up. Maybe you were learning. A gentle reframe doesn't deny their feelings. It simply opens a window for a kinder interpretation. Their brain steps away from self-blame just enough to breathe. 53. The compliment redirect. Some people get uncomfortable receiving praise. They dodge it. They diminish it. They bounce it back like a shield. You can guide them into accepting it by adding a small grounding detail. Instead of, "You did amazing," say, "You did amazing, especially the way you handled the difficult part." The specificity makes compliments feel real, not empty. It removes the pressure of perfection and anchors the praise in something tangible. People relax when praise feels earned. 54. The safety net question. This trick creates trust in difficult conversations. When someone hesitates, unsure whether they can speak openly, offer, "Is there anything you'd feel more comfortable saying first?" This question gives them a smaller doorway, a safer place to begin. Often, once they speak the easier part, the harder truth follows naturally. You're not forcing vulnerability, you're giving it a soft landing. 55. The curiosity softener. Questions can feel invasive if they're too direct, but curiosity wrapped in softness becomes connection. Add a cushion phrase before the question. I'm curious. If you're comfortable sharing, I've been wondering about something. These small phrases transform interrogation into interest. They signal respect for boundaries and make people more willing to open up. Curiosity without pressure becomes intimacy. 56. The return to warmth gesture. Every relationship has micro-tensions, moments where someone gets quiet, irritated, or distant for reasons nobody fully understands. Instead of asking, "What's wrong?" which can make people defensive, try something softer. "I'm here." Or, "You feel a little far away. Is everything okay?" This isn't confrontation. It's a gentle pull back to warmth. You're not demanding explanation. You're offering presence. People open up when they feel you noticing them, not judging them. 57. The future anchor. People feel closer when they imagine a future with you, even in small ways. Not grand plans, not commitments, just anchors. "I'd like to hear how that goes next time." Or, "Let's check in about this later." "I want to know what happens after this part." Future anchors create subtle continuity. They tell the other person, this connection doesn't end here. It creates psychological security, the quiet belief that you'll still be there. 58. The soft boundaries technique. Setting limits doesn't have to feel harsh. Instead of, "I can't," or "no," frame boundaries with gentleness and clarity. "I wish I could, but I don't think I have the energy for that today." Or, "I care about this, but I need to slow the pace a little." Soft boundaries protect the relationship while protecting you. People accept limits more easily when they feel empathy instead of resistance. You're not shutting them out, you're showing them where you can meet them. 59. The small vulnerability strategy. You don't need to share deep secrets to build trust. Tiny vulnerabilities work better. "I was nervous about that." "I wasn't sure what you'd think." "I got overwhelmed earlier." These micro-confessions signal humanity. They make the other person feel safe sharing their own small truths. Vulnerability invites vulnerability, but it's the quiet kind. Not dramatic, not heavy, just human. 60. The one more beat rule. In meaningful moments, people often rush to respond. We fear silence. We fill it too quickly. But if you wait just one more beat, one extra heartbeat of quiet, the other person often reveals something deeper. A thought they weren't unsure about. A feeling they weren't ready to say. A truth that needed space to surface. The trick works because silence isn't empty. It's permission. When you hold the space, even briefly, people step into it. These 10 tricks aren't more than strategies. They're emotional tuning. They help conversations breathe. They create warmth where tension could have grown. They let understanding flow where confusion might have taken root. When used with care, they don't just influence others, they elevate every connection you're a part of. 61. The invisible apology. There are moments in life when saying the words, "I'm sorry," feels too heavy, too clumsy, or too dramatic for what the situation actually needs. Maybe the tension is small. Maybe you don't want to make the other person uncomfortable by drawing more attention to it. Maybe you want to repair things without reopening them. The invisible apology is exactly that. You apologize through your energy rather than your words. It can look like softening your tone. It can look like laughing gently at yourself. It can be as simple as, "I've been thinking, and I really want to understand you better." That sentence repairs more than sorry ever could. It shows reflection, willingness, and effort, all without dragging the other person back into the conflict. Humans respond not to the word sorry, but to the feeling of reconciliation. If you change your behavior, your posture, your tone, your willingness to listen, the apology lands naturally. Sometimes the best apology is the calm after the storm. 62. The follow the emotion, not the story trick. People often talk in stories. Messy, complicated stories full of details that swirl around the real issue. But beneath every story, there is a feeling, and that feeling is the true message. If someone tells you about a long argument with their boss, the details don't matter as much as the emotion hidden beneath. I felt ignored. I felt embarrassed. I felt pressured. Instead of analyzing the story or offering advice too quickly, follow the emotional thread. It sounds like, that must have been frustrating. That sounds like it made you feel small. That really weighed on you, didn't it? The moment the emotion is recognized, the person relaxes. Their shoulders drop. Their voice softens. They feel understood on a level deeper than logic. Humans don't calm down when someone fixes the situation. They calm down when someone understands their feelings about it. Follow the emotion, not the story. 63. The soft pivot. Every conversation has a direction. Sometimes that direction is good, playful, light, interesting. Other times it drifts into negativity, stress, or spirals that pull both people down. The soft pivot gently nudges the emotional tone somewhere healthier without rejecting what the other person said. It's not a hard shift like, let's not talk about that. It's more like, yeah, that really was stressful, but what helped you get through it? Or, that sounds rough, but what happened after that? Or even, I get that. Also, something small made me smile today. Want to hear? You aren't ignoring the emotion, you are guiding the focus. People naturally follow emotional direction, especially when it's delivered gently. The soft pivot lets you take a heavy moment and walk it towards something lighter without shutting anyone down. It's graceful, it's subtle, and people appreciate it far more than you'd expect. 64. The grateful loop. Gratitude is powerful. But the grateful loop takes it a step further. Most people say thank you, but it's quick, instinctive, and sometimes flat. The grateful loop reinforces the action and the person behind it. It sounds like, thank you for helping. That was really thoughtful. Thanks for checking in. You always notice things others don't. Thank you, seriously. You're such a reliable person. By re-looping the gratitude back to who they are, you strengthen their identity in a positive direction. People begin to see themselves as helpful, caring, thoughtful, because you reflected it back to them. And humans repeat the behaviors that match how they see themselves. You're not manipulating, you're recognizing their value and helping them recognize it too. 65. The predictive empathy trick. This trick feels almost magical when done softly. Predictive empathy is when you gently acknowledge a feeling someone hasn't fully put into words yet. Not in a way that pressures them, but in a way that makes them feel deeply seen. You seem a little drained today. You look like something's been on your mind. You don't feel like yourself. Are you okay? The key is softness. No accusations, no assumptions, no intensity. People often hide their feelings out of habit, but they still want someone to notice. Predictive empathy isn't mind reading, it's emotional awareness. Humans leak feelings through micro-expressions, breathing patterns, silence, slowed speech. When you gently acknowledge these signals, the other person feels safe enough to open up. It creates closeness instantly, like you're speaking to a part of them they didn't know was visible. 66.
The calm consequence technique. Boundaries are one of the hardest parts of communication. Most people set boundaries too late, too emotionally, or too aggressively, which makes others defensive. The calm consequence technique shifts everything. You express your boundary and the consequence, but in a tone so calm and steady that the other person doesn't feel attacked. For example, I want to keep talking, but if it stays this heated, I'll need a short break. Or, I'm okay discussing this, but I won't continue if it becomes disrespectful. Or, I'm here for you, but I can't stay if shouting starts. There's no threat, no punishment, no escalation, just clarity and calmness. People respond better to boundaries when they don't feel judged. A calm boundary feels firm but safe, clear but gentle, strong but respectful. It's one of the most mature forms of communication, and people quickly learn to respect it. 67. The low-pressure check-in. Some people shut down when asked direct questions about their feelings. It's not because they don't trust you, it's because pressure freezes emotional access. The low-pressure check-in removes that pressure entirely. No rush to answer, but how are you really feeling? Whenever you're ready, I'd love to hear what's on your mind. Or, if you ever want to talk about anything, I'm here. You are offering space, not demanding vulnerability, and that difference changes everything. People open up when they feel safe, not when they feel cornered. And by reducing the urgency, you actually increase the likelihood that they'll talk to you, sometimes even sooner than you expect. You're giving them emotional breathing room. That's often all someone needs. 68. The shared silence trick. In a world where people constantly fill silence with noise, shared silence becomes something rare and comforting. Two people sitting together without talking and without feeling awkward is a sign of deep trust. You don't rush to fill the quiet, you let it settle, like soft air between you. Silence becomes a calming presence instead of an empty space. Sometimes the most meaningful moments in a friendship or relationship aren't in the words spoken, but in the quiet safety you share. A silence where neither person feels the need to perform or entertain. When you master shared silence, you master emotional presence. It says, I'm comfortable with you. I don't need anything from you. We can just be. 70. The reveal the thought, not the wound technique. Opening up doesn't have to be heavy. You don't need to spill everything, and neither does the person you're talking to. Instead of revealing deep wounds, reveal the thought surrounding the feeling. I've been feeling a little off lately. I've had a lot on my mind. I'm trying to understand myself better these days. These gentle admissions invite connection without overwhelming the conversation. They show vulnerability, but with emotional boundaries intact. When you reveal the thought instead of the wound, the other person feels safe to meet you in the middle. It creates intimacy without intensity. Humans bond through gradual exposure, not sudden emotional dumping, and this technique makes vulnerability feel natural rather than pressured. 71. The emotional bookmark. Not all conversations need to end with closure. Some of them just need a pause. The emotional bookmark acknowledges the moment without forcing resolution. We can pause this. I'm not going anywhere. Let's come back to this when it feels lighter. We don't have to figure it all out right now. This tells the other person the connection is still intact. The door is still open. The conversation is safe to revisit later. People feel secure knowing the moment isn't being abandoned, it's simply being saved for when both minds are clearer. An emotional bookmark turns conflict into cooperation. It turns confusion into patience. It turns heaviness into something that can be held gently.
As we move deeper into these psychological strategies, the focus shifts. We're no longer just shaping conversation or calming emotions.
we're beginning to subtly influence motivation, perception, and the way people see themselves in the world. These are the tricks that allow you to guide without pushing, to inspire without preaching, and to leave a lasting impression that feels natural, effortless, and calm. Here are tricks 71 through 80. 71. The positive micro-prediction. Humans naturally anticipate what will happen next. If you can gently guide that anticipation, you can create subtle motivation and confidence. A simple example. You'll probably handle this better than you expect. Most people might struggle here, but you seem ready. I imagine this will go smoother than you think. These statements don't demand action. They simply plant a seed in the subconscious. I can succeed. The brain picks up on these tiny predictions and often acts to fulfill them. You're not giving commands. You're creating a mental nudge toward confidence and forward movement. 72. The gentle challenge. People are wired to resist direct confrontation, but respond surprisingly well to soft challenges. This isn't about arguing or criticizing. It's about inspiring someone to rise, subtly. Instead of, you need to do better. Try, I wonder if you can surprise yourself with this. I'd love to see what you can do here. This seems tricky, but I think you're capable. This frames a challenge as curiosity rather than judgment. It triggers motivation without resistance, engaging their natural desire to meet expectations in a positive way. 73. The mirrored pause. In tense moments, pause slightly after someone finishes speaking, longer than normal. Not awkwardly long, just a beat or two. Your silence does more than wait. It signals attention. It signals understanding. It signals presence. Humans instinctively mirror these pauses. The other person slows down. Their words become more considered. The emotional temperature drops. The mirrored pause isn't emptiness. It's space for clarity and connection, letting both parties breathe before moving forward. 74. The soft limit. When boundaries are necessary, framing them gently increases compliance and reduces conflict. Instead of, you can't do that. Try, I'd feel better if we kept it this way. It would help me a lot if we tried this approach. The difference is subtle, but profound. You're not demanding, you're guiding. And humans are far more likely to respect limits when they feel like they're being included rather than forced. 75. The anchored suggestion. When offering advice or ideas, anchor it in something familiar. For example, remember how well it worked when you tried X last time? This could be similar. Or, you handled that situation gracefully before. You can do this too. Anchors remind the brain of previous success. They reduce fear, lower resistance, and make the suggestion feel natural. This works because humans trust patterns and past outcomes more than abstract recommendations. 76. The tiny agreement. People like to feel aligned. Before asking for a bigger commitment, create a small point of agreement. Say, would you agree that clear communication helps? Or, most of us want solutions rather than arguments, right? These micro-agreements set the stage for deeper alignment. The mind unconsciously leans toward continuity, so when you present a larger idea or request, it's easier for them to say yes. This is subtle social engineering, not force, but smooth alignment. 77. The emotion labeling. Sometimes people struggle to express feelings. Labeling emotions out loud can help them process and stabilize. For example, it seems like you're feeling overwhelmed right now. Or, you seem a little frustrated, is that right? Or, that looks like relief. Am I reading that correctly? When you reflect their internal state accurately, it validates their experience. It also slows down the emotional reaction, letting them respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Labeling doesn't judge, it simply clarifies. 78. The subtle comparison. Humans understand their own behavior in contrast to others. You can influence perspective through careful, positive comparison. For example, many people find this confusing, but you've handled it with ease. Most people struggle here, yet you navigated calmly. This method gently boosts confidence without flattery or exaggeration. The comparison frames them in a favorable light relative to the broader context. It's empowering, not competitive. 79. The microstory. Stories shape thought faster than data or commands. Even a tiny anecdote can guide perception, create empathy, or shift emotion. For example, when I was in a similar situation, I hesitated, then realized small steps work better than trying everything at once. Or, someone I know tried this and it felt awkward at first, but they ended up finding a rhythm. Microstories are brief, relatable, and non-intrusive. They bypass resistance, allowing the listener to absorb lessons without being told what to do. Humans remember narrative far longer than instruction. 80. The end on calm technique. Every interaction leaves a residue, a feeling that lingers after the words stop. Ending conversations on a calm, soothing note ensures the last impression is positive. Instead of rushing away, say, "I'm glad we talked." Or, "Take your time and we'll pick this up later." Or, "Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it." The brain remembers the final moment more vividly than the rest. Calm endings reinforce trust, connection, and goodwill. They make people feel grounded, safe, and understood. Tricks 71 through 80 emphasize influence through subtlety, guiding perception, shaping emotion, and creating space for comfort and growth. When you combine these with the previous 70 tricks, you develop a deep, almost instinctual understanding of human interaction. It's not about manipulation or control. It's about presence, empathy, and quiet guidance. The kind that makes others feel naturally drawn to you, not because you demand it, but because you create calm, clarity, and trust wherever you are. When you're ready for part 9, tricks 81 through 90, just say
81. The curiosity hook. Humans are naturally curious, but the mind often resists direct instructions. Instead of telling someone what to notice, gently spark curiosity. Have you ever noticed how small habits affect mood without us realizing? I was reading something interesting. Have you seen this kind of pattern before? I wonder why this happens. It's strange, isn't it? Curiosity hooks the brain. It invites exploration without pressure. When people feel they've discovered something themselves, the insight sticks far more than if it was handed to them. The trick works because curiosity is self-directed, not imposed. 82. The incremental agreement. Agreement is a powerful tool. Instead of trying to secure full compliance at once, build it in small steps. Ask questions or make statements that are almost impossible to disagree with. Most people prefer clarity over confusion, right? Would you agree that taking small steps works better than rushing? These micro-agreements set a subconscious pattern, alignment. Once a person has agreed to small points, larger ideas are easier to accept. The brain prefers continuity, and this technique uses that preference gently, without pressure. 83. The emotion anticipation. Before someone reacts emotionally, anticipate and acknowledge their feelings softly. It seems like this part might frustrate you. You look like this is weighing on you a little. I imagine this could feel overwhelming. By acknowledging emotion before it fully surfaces, you prevent escalation. The brain feels understood, and the person often reacts with calmness instead of defensiveness. This trick works subtly. It's about reading micro cues like posture, tone, and facial tension, and responding with quiet awareness. 84. The pause to reflect. When someone expresses a strong opinion or emotion, resist the urge to reply immediately. Instead, pause slightly longer than normal. This simple pause does two things. It gives your brain time to process their words, and it gives their brain time to process your listening. The effect is almost magical. People feel heard, their thoughts settle, and responses become calmer and more considered. The pause isn't silence. It's a soft, invisible handshake between minds. 85. The layered compliment. Instead of a single compliment, layer it with subtle reinforcement of character, effort, or persistence. You handled that challenge really well. It shows how thoughtful and persistent you are. Your solution was clever, and I can see the careful planning behind it. You stayed calm when things got tough. That's impressive. Layered compliments work because the brain registers multiple signals: recognition of the act, acknowledgement of skill, and reinforcement of positive traits. People absorb it as a holistic validation, not just praise. It strengthens both self-perception and trust in the speaker. 86. The reflective question. Instead of asking questions that demand direct answers, reflect back what you perceive first. You seem unsure about this. What's going through your mind? I notice you're hesitant. What do you feel might help? It looks like this decision is weighing on you. What part feels hardest? Reflective questions create safe space. They show observation without judgment and curiosity without pressure. They guide others toward clarity while leaving control in their hands. 87. The subtle repetition. Repetition of key words or phrases can reinforce ideas gently without feeling forced. If someone is discussing stress, you might echo, "You're feeling stressed about the upcoming work, right?" If someone mentions excitement, reflect it. That excitement you're describing, it sounds energizing. This isn't mimicry. It's an acknowledgement that reinforces the concept emotionally and cognitively. Repetition guides thought subtly, helping the person focus on what matters most. 88. The many-story framing. Stories help humans absorb ideas effortlessly. Even a very short story, a sentence or two, can shift perception or provide insight. When I faced something similar, I worried too, but taking one small step at a time made it manageable. My friends struggled here, and they found a solution by approaching it slowly. It worked better than rushing. Many stories bypass resistance. They allow the listener to internalize lessons without feeling lectured. Humans are wired for narrative. Even tiny examples shape understanding in powerful ways. 89. The temporal shift. When emotions are high, it helps to shift perspective gently to the past or the future. Remember the last time you handled something like this? You managed it calmly then. Imagine looking back on this next week. How would you feel? Think about how you might approach this tomorrow with fresh eyes. Temporal shifts help the brain gain distance. They reduce immediate pressure and create perspective, turning urgency or anxiety into reflection and planning. This subtle trick allows someone to move from reaction to reason without confrontation. 90. The soft recap. Ending a conversation or summarizing points can reinforce understanding, but do it gently. So today we explored a few options, and it seems like you're leaning toward this approach. From what we discussed, you're considering multiple ways to handle it, and each has its merits. We talked about the challenges and the strengths. It feels like you have a clear path forward now. Soft recaps anchor information, validate decisions, and provide closure. They're not authoritative. They're gentle signals that the interaction was meaningful, organized, and safe. People leave feeling understood, confident, and calm. These 10 tricks deepen the subtler layers of psychology, shaping perception, guiding motivation, and creating clarity and calm. They don't demand attention or compliance. They simply align the energy of conversation in ways that feel natural, safe, and constructive. Every word, pause, compliment, and gesture contributes to a deeper, calmer, more connected experience for everyone involved.
We've arrived at the final segment, the last 10 tricks. By now, these psychological strategies are no longer just tools. They are a way of seeing, listening, and engaging with others that feels intuitive and natural. The last 10 tricks focus on deepening trust, leaving lasting impressions, and guiding people's thoughts and emotions in subtle, gentle ways. These are the moments that linger long after the conversation ends. Here are tricks 91 through 100. 91. The anchor of calm. Every conversation has an emotional baseline, a mood that sets the tone for all interactions. You can subtly influence this by anchoring calmness early. Speak slowly, lower your voice slightly, and pause naturally. Even a single calm statement at the beginning, such as, "Let's just take this step by step," or "We don't need to rush through this," anchors the interaction in stability. People subconsciously mirror this calm, lowering tension and opening space for dialogue. This is less about persuasion and more about creating an environment where reason and understanding can flourish. 92. The echo of success. People are influenced by memory and perception of past accomplishments. Remind them of a time they succeeded to build confidence for present challenges. You handled something like this perfectly last time. Remember how you managed that tricky situation a few weeks ago? By gently echoing past success, you provide reassurance and a sense of capability. This subtle cue reinforces self-trust and reduces anxiety, making new challenges feel achievable rather than daunting. The brain responds favorably to reminders of competence, even small ones. 93. The empathetic pause. When someone expresses frustration, anger, or fear, your response timing matters. Don't rush to solve the problem or reply. Instead, pause for a beat or two, silently acknowledging their emotion. This pause signals presence, patience, and understanding. It allows the other person to process their feelings while subtly inviting calm. The effect is often transformative. Tensions ease, defensiveness drops, and the interaction moves toward clarity. It's simple, almost imperceptible, but profoundly effective. 94. The guided reflection. Instead of giving advice outright, gently guide people to discover insights themselves. Ask soft, open-ended questions like, "What do you think would make this easier? Which part of this feels most manageable?" Or, "If you could approach this differently, what would you try first?" The trick works because people trust solutions they arrive at themselves. Guided reflection fosters autonomy, builds confidence, and deepens understanding, all without pressure or judgment. It's a gentle invitation to insight rather than a directive. 95. The compliment sandwich. This classic technique works subtly when delivered softly. Structure feedback or suggestions with positive acknowledgement first, gentle guidance in the middle, and reinforcement at the end. For example, "You handled the introduction beautifully. One small thing could make it even clearer, but overall, it was impressive and thoughtful." The brain registers the critique without triggering defensiveness because it's cushioned by affirmation. It works not by hiding flaws, but by embedding them in a positive emotional frame. 96. The micro-validation. Validation doesn't have to be loud or extensive. Even tiny acknowledgments of feelings or effort create connection and trust. "I can see why you'd feel that way. That makes sense. You're putting a lot of thought into this." Micro-validation signals attentiveness, empathy, and respect. It reassures the listener that their emotions are recognized, even if unspoken. Small gestures like this accumulate, creating a strong emotional bond over time. 97. The future framing.
Humans respond powerfully to envisioning possibilities. Help someone project into a positive or manageable future with gentle framing. Imagine how relieved you'll feel once this is resolved. Think about how smoothly this will go if we take it one step at a time. Future framing reduces anxiety, clarifies priorities, and strengthens motivation. It's a gentle mental nudge that primes the brain for productive action. It's a subtle mental nudge that primes the brain for productive action. 98. The soft humor. Humor, when used subtly, relaxes tension and increases receptivity. The key is softness, light, non-offensive, and unhurried. A small observation or self-deprecating remark can diffuse stress. I clearly overestimated how fast I could do that. Classic me. Or, seems like my coffee ran out of patience before I did. Soft humor signals humility and relatability, creating emotional ease. It lowers defenses and strengthens rapport, leaving people more open and attentive. It's a subtle mental nudge that primes the brain for productive action. 99. The mini-narrative. Short, relatable stories shape perception and memory more effectively than directives or explanations. I had a similar challenge recently, and I found that small steps worked better than trying to do everything at once. Or, a friend of mine struggled with this exact issue. They tried a slightly different approach and were surprised how well it worked. These tiny narratives create context, illustrate possibilities, and guide understanding without demanding compliance. Humans process stories more deeply than raw instructions, and mini-narratives allow lessons to land naturally. 100. The closing calm. Every interaction leaves a residual emotional impression. The final moments are remembered most vividly. Ending on a calm, positive, and affirming note leaves both parties with a sense of security and trust. Simple phrases like, "I'm glad we talked. Thanks for sharing this with me. Take your time and we'll revisit if needed." These words, spoken softly, anchor the entire conversation in warmth. The calm closing ensures that tension doesn't linger and that the emotional space remains safe. It's the final touch that transforms all previous effort into lasting connection. Tricks 91 through 100 complete the full set of 100 psychology strategies. Together, these tricks form a toolkit that allows anyone to calm tense situations, influence subtly without pressure, inspire motivation and confidence, deepen trust and understanding, create connection and emotional safety. The true power lies not in the tricks themselves, but in the mindset behind them. Used thoughtfully, they allow conversations to flow naturally, interactions to feel effortless, and relationships to strengthen quietly over time. By combining all 100 tricks, you possess the ability to navigate human interaction with subtlety, empathy, and clarity, leaving others feeling seen, understood, and respected, while creating an environment where connection and collaboration happen almost instinctively. This concludes the final part of the 100 Psychology Tricks series. Every moment, pause, reflection, and soft word contributes to a deeper understanding of human behavior, a journey into the quiet currents that guide thought, feeling, and action.